I was adopted at a young age. Make one kid feel like he's better than all the other kids. Broke my leg in 7 pieces.
Do you have memory of the jump itself?
11 siblings with disabilities, and I was always the fastest. Every family reunion, always the most athletic, so I knew there was something that I was good at. I didn't get PT until my senior year. The stunt was I would run and flip over the car as it's driving at me.
Welcome to the Willpower Podcast. So you gave me the brief synopsis of 4 major pieces of your life up until now.
Yep.
Let's just start from the beginning.
Okay.
So tell me about that, your upbringing.
Yeah, so I grew up in the foster care system, and I was adopted at a young age. So it was me, my older brother, my younger brother. Our mom was involved in gang violence growing up, and long story short, our house got shut up while we were inside. Children's Services came, took us away, and I was in foster care from 2 to 4. Very vivid memory with that. I remember faces, don't remember conversations. I remember my foster sister and brother, and we reconnected. I'll revisit that later on. But when I was adopted at 4, I got adopted into a family of about 30 at the time. And I was adopted from 4 to 17 altogether. We adopted more kids and had about 32 when you look at the Nuzum family. So foster care for 2 years, and then adoption for my remaining years until I was 17.
So the family you were adopted into had 30
siblings,
and then more.
Yeah, more as we got adopted. Yep.
What was that logistically like? Was it like a big house or
yes.
what? Yeah.
It was a lot. The biggest thing I can, when I zoom out and I look at the whole situation, we were kind of like a unit, and so we all had chores, we all had things to make the family go. We were homeschooled, so we were around our family a lot. Very sheltered in a lot of ways. There were things that I had to relearn or learn for myself as soon as I grew up or as soon as I moved out. But when I was at the home, it was a lot of kind of you did things based on your age. So everyone around my age I'm really close to, because we all got put in a box. Everyone that's 10 years old, go do this. And so growing up, you were kind of around the same couple of siblings, and so we pretty much clicked as we got older. But when I got adopted at first, there were already 4 of my siblings that moved out or were on the verge of moving out, and so here I am 4. They're already 18, so I didn't really have that connection.
Yeah, that's really crazy to think about, and that sounds like such a change from where you were.
Yep.
So from when you were born to 2 was when
I was with my mom.
You were with your mom.
Yep.
And that sounds completely different from then going into foster care.
Yep.
Which is then a complete transition.
2 to 4, yep.
From 4 to 17. Yeah, do you ever think about the what ifs? What if you didn't go into foster care? What if you didn't get adopted into this family? What do you...
Yeah.
Are you there?
Based on my family history, my real family, I know what could have happened, and that's probably gang violence and kind of just that direction. My mom ended up turning her life around because of us, and so if we never got taken from her, she probably still would have been in that life, which means she would have passed it on to us. And so I've been through that rabbit hole a couple times, but it's not something that I'm oh man, I wish. It's kind of just I'd probably be in jail or I'd probably, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of just something I thought about a couple times, but don't really dive too deep into.
Yeah. Do you have, are you in touch with your mom at this point?
Yes. So my biological mom, I got reunited with her when I was a senior in college. She found us on Facebook, and that's a whole story too I can dive into. But she found us when I was 2016. She found us. It's kind of just a overload of, her trying to be a mom, trying to catch up on all the years she missed. And for me and my brothers, we were kind of, we were 25, 26. So we appreciated it, but also we didn't need her anymore. And not in a negative way. It's just we didn't really know how to tell her that, because she was just trying to do everything, trying to be a mom, which is, I get it, but it almost pushed us away in a sense. And so for me, I've always been like the very chill, like mediator. My younger brother didn't really like that, too much of her like trying to do so much. So he and her didn't really have a good relationship. It's gotten better in the last few years. My oldest brother, it made him want to step up more because he was kind of been going through the motions, going through the flow. And when she came back, she was kind of like, hey, you're the oldest, what are you doing with your life? And kind of made him like, oh, what am I doing with my life? So I feel like that's helped motivate him in a lot of ways, but also the mom part of nagging kind of like eats him alive a little bit, just like, I'm trying. And I've always been kind of just like the mediator as far as like telling my mom what my brothers are thinking and then telling my brothers what my mom's thinking. Is like, you got to see it from both sides. Yes, we love you, we're glad we found you, but we also are our own like men now, and like we already have goals, we already have things we're working on, and we can't just like give it up and just throw in the white towel and ask you to come save us.
Yeah. What was your relationship like with your adopted parents?
Yeah, so I always say they did the best they could with what they knew. There's no blueprint for raising 30 kids. And, and I look back, I'm like, yeah, that wasn't really good. Growing up, though, I feel like we were pretty chill. But one of the things they do is, like, when you move out, they kind of, like, let you do your thing. And there's not really a lot of support. Yeah, they'll call you, they'll text you, they'll respond if you say happy birthday. But yeah, I'm one of the youngest in the adopted family, so I saw my siblings move out and then call and then not answer. And so I always thought it was something maybe they did at the house, that they were like, oh, they're the enemies of the family, whatever. And then when I moved out, it happened to me. So I was like, what was I doing? But like my dad, he got me into working out and being fit. I told him I wanted to play college football at a young age. And at first, when you're 10 and you say that, it's kind of like a pipe dream. Mm-hmm. But as I got older, it was like, no, I really want to play football. And having no high school experience, it was kind of like an uphill climb. But he got me into the gym. He got me into drills. He supported that aspect of being fit. And so I always appreciate him for that. My mom, I feel like I got more closer when I could actually have adult conversations, talk about college and, finances and like just things that you should know. Kind of growing up, I was kind of just like one of the kids. And so I didn't really feel comfortable just like, hey, let's talk. And then another thing that was really big in our family was we were all like clumped together. So for example, like if I met you at the park and you became my friend and I told my parents about it, you would come over the trial, and if you didn't hang out with everyone in the family, you couldn't come over anymore. Like you couldn't just hang out with me. And so there was a lot of things we did as a group. Like people would come over, friends would come over, and if they ignored a certain family members, then they couldn't come over again because they weren't everyone wasn't being included. So yeah, there's a lot of that, and wasn't a lot of individualism until I was like 16, and it was like, okay, Dre wants to play this, she wants to do this, and they kind of like realized that we weren't giving up and that we were really set on what we wanted to do.
So everything was like as a unit.
Yeah,
like just the whole family doing this thing.
And when I was 13 was when my other siblings started to see that, oh, he's really fast. He's the fastest in the family. He's athletic. He would be really good at football, and they kind of supported that. And I remember a family friend came and saw me like jump really high and was like, wow, oh my gosh. And she introduced, like, hey, if he wants to try out for high school, I think he'd be really great. And their argument was, I can't play football in high school because if I do, everyone has to. And I was like, that doesn't work like that. But if I played football, then it would make me seem like I'm special. And so that was their argument. It was like, you didn't want to like make one kid feel like he's better than all the other kids. And so that was like their main thing when it came to like, oh, you're really good at piano, go to this piano concert. Like, no, you can't go, because then if you go, then everyone would be jealous. So there's a lot of that. And I could see it, but also it doesn't really.
Do you know what led them to adopt that many kids?
Yeah, so their firstborn lives in Idaho. He's a medical doctor, and me and him are pretty close. We're I actually got closer since my accident because I reached out to him for a lot of advice. Their second born died at birth, and so she couldn't have any more kids. And from there, she just wanted more kids and had a love for kids. And she just started with one and realized there were so many families in need. And I actually have about 11 siblings with disabilities. One's blind, 6 were in wheelchairs, multiple cerebral palsy, autism. And so growing up, I'm really grateful that I learned that how to help other people. You know, I see somebody in public having a seizure, I typically know what to do because my sisters had it growing up. And you kind of take it for granted because like, oh, you know, such and such having a seizure again, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, those are skills that I took on in my real life. And I'm like, oh, well, if I didn't know this growing up, I wouldn't be able to help this person. So I'm really thankful for that aspect. Like we did help each other out. We were really close knit as far as like helping our siblings that couldn't help themselves.
Have you like dug into what like those like psychological ramifications are now of like growing up in that type of family, like both positive and negative?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are a lot of really like you grew up with this like insanely strong connection with like a large number of people that most people do not have. Like my family, I thought was big, and we have like there's 4 kids, which is like nothing.
Huge. I'm like, great, bro. It's a huge family. No, I got you.
So yeah, what do you think about that?
I have not dove into it, but now that you mention it, that would be an interesting rabbit hole to go through. But when I zoom out, I think it helps me like be more understanding, compassionate for people who can't do things that I can do, or that I just like walking. Oh, you just walk, you know what I'm saying? But like, just like trying to get on their map and be like, okay, how can I help this person take their first step? You know, stuff like that. And then my accident, you know, it humbled me, and I couldn't walk. And so there were a lot of things that like I took from growing up that helped me, you know, recover, or just like help me give back to other people that, you know, can't do things themselves. As far as like negative, the biggest thing I can think of is just like the fact that we were like sheltered and like so closed off. Is like, if you didn't like your siblings and that's all you saw, you're not going to like your life. You know what I'm saying? And I was, like I said, I was pretty chill. So I didn't have any beef with anybody. But like there were times where I was like, all right, I don't want to see you again. I don't want to see you tomorrow. Like I want to see something else. I want to do something else. So I feel like that definitely for my older siblings that, you know, like went off the wrong path, it was kind of an overload. Yeah, it's because I was the 4th youngest. There was 20 more siblings ahead of me. And, you know, we were always preached, you know, like Christian household, don't do drugs, say no to this. And it got to the point where like it was so much that when they went to high school for the first time, it was overload, just like all of that in their face. And some of them dealt with it different ways. And then some of them just like dove into it. And then it led them to being in trouble with the law or like getting in trouble in school and stuff like that. And so I think being the youngest, I got to see, oh, don't do that, you know. So that helped me. But for them, unfortunately, they were kind of the guinea pigs and kind of like, don't do this. Okay, I'm going to do it because they said don't do it, you know. So
yeah. My mom grew up in Wisconsin, and her mom was German and her dad spoke German. So they just learned German growing up. Yeah. And then her oldest brother went to school and was like, didn't speak English. And he was the only one, like he only spoke German, didn't speak any English. And then when he came home, like then they started to learn English. And so by the time she got to school, like she spoke English, she could fit in. Yep. So almost kind of similar in a certain way. But yeah, that is interesting, that idea of just being closed off completely as a full family. And so did you go to high school, or were you homeschooled through high school?
Homeschooled throughout, but when I was 14 was when we started introducing high school. And so my 17-year-olds, my 16-year-old siblings, they went first to kind of like test it out. And the plan was when it got down to me being 16, I'd go to high school. I played football. Hopefully we'll see if I'm good. And that was the plan. There was 2 age groups ahead of me. The first group messed it up. And the second group was kind of like briefed like, hey, don't mess it up. And I was like, please don't mess it up. They messed it up too. And then when it got down to me, it was nah. They're like, nah, we're not going to do that to you. And so I ended up going to Job Corps, got certified as a brick mason, got my GED, and went off to college that way. Okay. But Yeah, they took what they knew at school and then brought it home into the family, and then our parents started to see the house dynamic change a little bit, and they're like, all right, this ain't it. Like, mom says don't do this, yeah, but somebody at school said you do this, and the stuff like that, and so a lot of ears and a lot of influence in different places, and then they started seeing the structure of the family kind of go off the rails a little bit. So
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and so from there, you go to college. And so you didn't have any high school football experience. Were you playing football? Or how did you,
Yeah, so we played backyard football. We did, everything but the actual game. And I was always the fastest. Every family reunion, always the most athletic. So I knew there was something that I was good at. Mm-hmm. I also would get done with school early, being homeschooled, and I would do, drills, combine drills. I would do everything but play the game. So when I went to college, I knew the only way to, get on the team was to walk on. And so went up to the coach at the time and kind of just told him, hey, here's my pitch. No high school experience, super fast. Do you guys have a walk-on tryout? Let me know. And he was game until he heard that I didn't play high school. And he was just like, nah, you're spitting in the face of all these athletes that spent their whole lives playing football. And for you to just show up and think you can get a starting spot, that's not going to happen. Go play tennis or something. And I can remember that whole conversation, at 6 of them.
Yeah.
And, I would say one day, so it happened in the morning. That day, I sat with it and what? And then I woke up the next day and I was like, who are you? I can run circles around you. And so went back to my whole freshman year. I would go to I do school, and then I found a couple buddies that we would do drills and do everything else but play the game. And one of my best buddies, Tony, he has the same type of walk-on dream. He has one eye. He can catch better than a lot of people that I can see. He's just an awesome guy. But we had the same dream of walking on. And so that whole freshman year, that was what we did. We just drills and routes and stuff like that. And then the next year he gets fired. A new coach comes in. I'm like, here we go again. So same pitch. And, obviously him hearing I didn't play high school, it's but they had a walk-on tryout. He actually posted it. The other coach didn't post it. I asked him about a tryout. And so for him to post it, it was an invite to, let me ask him. He's like, yeah, come out and come see what you got. And I was 6 of, I think, 20 that made the team, me and Tony. And the rest is history. I didn't get PT until my senior year because, I had to learn the game. I had to learn the speed, how to run with pads on, helmet, tunnel vision, just everything. This isn't Madden anymore. This is real life. So it took sophomore and junior year to learn the speed. And I ball out on special teams. I ball out on practice. I would go 110%. Why are you going so fast? Why are you going so hard? This is my only game experience. This is the closest thing I can get to a real game. And then my senior year, I'll never forget it. I end up going really hard in special teams, and I end up second on the depth chart. Our first string was a cornerback, and he was a starting cornerback. And I remember the game, they threw a deep touchdown, and he was guarding him, so I knew he ran to chase him. And in my head, I'm like, oh, he's not doing kickoff. He's not. And then coach was looking at the depth chart, and he was like, Brandon. And Brandon tapped me, and he's like, Dre, go in, I can't. And I was like, oh, shit, this is real. And then he's like, Brandon. He's like, no, coach, I need a second. And then he looks, he's like, Dre. And everybody's like, Dre, because everybody knew my story. So, I put my helmet on and get out there. And, I do everything I do in practice, run that first one down the field. I'm the gunner, so I just go get the ball. And I had the guy in my sights. I can see him. And then I just get lit up from the side and knock my helmet off next to their sideline. And the dude gets tackled. And their sideline is erupting oh, you just got your helmet knocked off. My sideline's erupting because Trey finally got in. And what happened was I didn't strap up because I just wasn't used to it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I haven't played a real game, so that was the last thing I was thinking of. It was a good hit, but it wasn't like he lit me up. He just hit me and my helmet fell off. And I played, I think 15 plays altogether, my senior year. In training camp, I actually dislocated my shoulder, so I couldn't play the first 3 games, but I was second string cornerback at the time. And then once I recovered, they put me on special teams. and I ended up, playing the final 4 games of the year. And so like that was just completion for me. I was like, obviously I'm not going to go to the NFL with one game or one season under my resume, but it was completion. It was like I set my mind to something when I was 10. I never gave up, and I made it. You know what I'm saying? So that was very motivating to my confidence.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being. Was there just like an unwavering belief that like you could do this, or that this was something you really wanted, or what was it that like kept you going during that freshman season where it was like you can't play, or the coach said you can't be on the team?
I think it was just the validation and the confidence growing up, knowing that yes, I was the fastest in my family, but whenever we go to parks and do like family reunions, I was still the fastest. Whenever like someone I knew played at like St. John's High School and he was a quarterback, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're fast." Like just that, any type of like motivation that I'm actually good from people that weren't my family, just like, oh, I'm really good. And then I think before I moved out, there was one lady that worked with the Toledo Rockets, like where we live, because I'm from Toledo, Ohio, and she kind of like put it in my head like you're good. You should try out for our team. Like, where are you going to college? Like, she kind of gave me that whole like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? And it kind of like, oh, I'm really good. Like, she's works at Toledo Rockets in the athletic department, and she sees in me that I'm really athletic and I can jump high and run fast. And so I think that was just always in me. And so when someone said something like that, like the first coach, like I sat with it for a day, but then the next day I was like, nah, who are you? And then having my friend with me, having his same story and him motivated, and him having all his limitations with one eye and his upbringing, it just was like, fist bump, let's do this. It just added that fuel. So
I think that's huge, is having someone else in it.
Yeah.
Because if it's just you, then like if you have an off day and you're like, fuck this, like why am I doing this?
Yep.
That could be the end of it.
Exactly.
Whereas if you have someone else,
yep,
then on those off days they're like, no man, like we're still doing this.
And he did that plenty of times. There was never like, I don't want to play football anymore. It's just like, I don't want to get up at 6 a.m. and do routes.
Yeah.
It was more of that. And he was like, "Hey, I'm up. Where you at?" Banging on my dorm door. I'm like, I hate this. But we'd go, and we made the team. So
yeah. I had a friend during COVID. It was like right when gyms started opening up again, and so I hadn't like been working out for like 6 months, and we just got in a gym routine together, and we started going at like 6 a.m. I don't even know why. Like we didn't have class because of COVID, so it's like we don't have to get up this early, but we would, and we just like kept it, like he would be at my apartment at 6 a.m. and we'd walk to the gym. And so that was huge for me in terms of just like turning that momentum around, which that momentum was going in like I was just getting lazy and not moving my body and sitting in my apartment all day. And then that just completely reversed it. Just having someone else
hold you accountable,
doing the same thing. Yeah.
It's motivating.
Yeah. Super motivating. Okay. What do you think other people could take from this experience that you had? Like, how can people apply that?
Well, the cliche way is, I always tell people, just never give up. Whatever you set your mind to, you can do. And growing up, like when people say that, I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever. But it's really true. And it's also like not just setting your mind to it, but putting steps, making action steps to get one step closer to that goal. Like, yes, you can pray on it. Yes, you can hope. But you still have to put in work. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, yes, put your mind to something. Whatever you put your mind to something, you can do. But you also have to put in work. And I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned, or I hope that people can learn, is like, put your mind to something, but start small. Get 1% better each day. And then from there, like, find a support system. Like I said, like, have somebody that either is willing to go down with you, or like go with you through the valley, or somebody that's just supporting you, like on the outside. They don't have to like do what you do, but it's just some sort of support and motivation throughout the process. Like even check-ins, like, hey man, can you text me next week and just say, hey, did you do XYZ? Like, you don't have to know exactly what that thing is, but just send me a text next week and say, hey, did you do XYZ? It holds me accountable, and I do that now. I'm like, I don't want to do this, but I have to do it. And so yeah, the biggest thing I would say is just never give up and start small.
Do those little things. Yeah, I have I have one friend who sometimes I'll send him money and I'll be like, don't send this back until like I do this thing or until this day when
it's a good one.
Yeah. And then that really makes me like, because I'm like, I don't want to fucking lose that money. That back. Yeah. Okay. So from college football.
Yep.
Yeah. What happens after that?
Yeah. So every spring break during college, I would go to Florida and train with a Real Hops group. So my whole parkour background, I'll get into that. It started, just jumping off the couch when I was little. Like obviously I'm still fast, I can jump high. So there was things I would do in the house that were just like, why are you jumping off that way? So that's what kind of planted that seed in me. I just like jumping off things. I self-taught myself to backflip when I was 10. I saw a video, went to the grass and just kept hucking it, and I finally got it. So that was extra motivation. It wasn't technical. It was just like muscle memory. Like I just knew I knew what it felt like. And so I watch videos now and I'm like, oh, that's an ugly backflip. But I knew how to like huck myself. From there, I saw a video. I remember when I was like 15, 16, I saw a video about stuntmen. Like you can get paid to like do acrobatic stuff. So that planted another seed, but I still had this football dream. So I kind of put it in the back. During college, every spring break, I'd go to Orlando and train with Real Hops, which was a big parkour group at the time. I spent the whole spring break just doing drills, going to their gym, just doing parkour stuff. And he was a stuntman for Universal Studios, Indiana Jones. And so I already knew, like, okay, he's my avenue. Like, after college, if I want to go that route. My senior year, I remember, like, I didn't want to play football, couldn't play football anymore. Because, like, before college, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the NFL. Like, and then, reality set in, and I was like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. So my senior year, I already set my minds on, like, stunt work. And so, like, that's why I, like, took it more serious. Yeah, so graduated and just started auditioning for random things, a bunch of things. I remember there was one audition in New York. I took a Greyhound all the way down there. Showed up. I was the only one there. There was, a board of like 6 people. And they're like, oh, this is the audition, blah, blah, blah. I was the only one there. I just did a whole bunch of acrobatic stuff. And they're like, okay, we'll call you back. And then I left. I was like, that was weird. Never got a call back, obviously. But it just made me realize that there's more to just auditioning. And so from there, what I would do is every time after the audition, while I'm still there, I would ask the judges or the whoever, like, what can I work on for the next audition, assuming that I didn't get it, because they have this thing where they'd call you back, but they never did. And so I went to probably like 6 of them and just did the same thing, like, hey, what did you see I could work on? And then they tell me, and then I do it, go to the next one, what can I work on? And I really got my eyes set on Marvel Live, which is the biggest stunt show in the United States at the time. And they go to arenas and just put on like a modified Marvel Avengers type show. And I remember the head guy, he was like, you're really athletic. You look like our Spider-Man and our Black Panther. And how they cast you is they cast you based on who they already have. And so if you're Hulk and your perception of Hulk is like this like 6'6" giant, and you're like, well, I'm 6'6" and I'm a giant, they're like, no, we're not gonna cast you because you don't look like their Hulk. Because their whole argument is if they put on 8 shows in one day and a kid sees all 8 shows and you look different, yeah, so they're really big on that. And so they cast you based on who they already have. And so they're like, you look like our Spider-Man or Black Panther, you just need to work on XYZ. And as I was packing up and going home, I recognized the dude from the show because I used to watch, kind of get a feel for how the shows ran. And I asked him, I was like, hey, I've been to this audition 3 times, made it to the final round. They keep telling me this callback thing. I never get a call. Maybe I'm missing it. What's going on? And he was like, yeah, you ball out at the audition, and then you submit an audition video of everything you can do, but not at the audition. So if you're good on a bike, snowboarding, like whatever athletic thing you do, you put in that highlight reel, and you send it to them just to show them, like, yes, I balled out the audition, but I can also do all these other things. And he mentioned jumping over a car, and I was like, oh, I can do that. And so like that planted that seed in my head. Yeah, that leads me to my stunt story, if you want to dive into that.
Let's go jumping over the car.
So my friend in college had a low car. We were kind of just we were buddies in college, and we always talked about like just crazy stunts. And I knew he had a low car. He lived in Cincinnati at the time, and I randomly just saw him one day, and I was like, "Hey, man, your car, can you measure it for me?" And he did. Sent me the height. I went to the gym, started practicing like getting over it, and I was clearing it clear. And so hit him back up. We set a date, and the stunt was I would run and flip over the car as it's driving at me. Yes, I could have just jumped over the car like the other dude, but at the time my whole mindset was I want to do something bigger than you. Like I don't want to do the same thing you did because you're on the show, but I want to be like, you know what I'm saying? So we set a date. We measured the car. We did everything logistically we thought we should do. And the Saturday was the practice day, and then the Sunday was supposed to be the real thing. And so what happened was I would flip over the car in front of the car, like the illusion, over it as it's driving me, and the camera's right here, so it gets the illusion that I can clear it, make sure my timing is good and all that stuff. And we probably did it like 10 times, and I was perfect score. Like the timing was good, the height was good, there was still a gap, you can see the sky. Like I was good. And knowing me, I figured I don't know if I'm gonna have the same energy tomorrow as I am today. And so I was like, let's do it today. Let's do it right now. And so we did it, and he got me. And basically, based on everyone that was there, the footage, he was driving faster than what we practiced. If I could rewind time, I would probably hire a professional, because I don't know what was going on in the car with him. You know, nerves, he mistimed something, whatever. But when we agreed, it was 45 miles an hour. Everyone there said it was like 50, 55. I watched the video. He was going pretty fast. And the way I reacted to him coming at me, I knew something was off. But when you're going that fast, you don't have time to like think, squat, and then jump. You know, like it's just brace for impact. So luckily I did like jump a little bit, and so he clipped me, and I flipped up in the air like 6 times, landed on the concrete, unconscious, in a coma for a week and a half. Broke my leg in 7 pieces, broken back, vertebrae, 32 injuries altogether. Broke my finger. I just had a lot of medical injuries. You know, like my doctor gave me a list and a lot of stuff I didn't know, but he knew, obviously. But the biggest things were my leg, my back. I had pneumonia. They cut like 6 of my locks and had to like get into my head and do a whole bunch of like stitches and stuff like that. So this happened in 2018. It took me 14 months to recover fully, to get that slip from my doctor. It took me 9 months to walk on my own. And, you know, like that whole journey was motivating in the fact that like I'm kind of thankful for it, that because it's made me stronger as a person, and it's brought me to where I am now. And so like you hear stories about people going through something tragic and now they have a new outlook on life. That's kind of me. Like I feel like, yes, I was athletic, but I feel like I'm more athletic now in a different way than I was. Like old Dre never would have skydived. Well, he would have, but he never did. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like he was limited. Like he had so much potential, and like here I am, recovered from a broken leg, and I'm doing American Ninja Warrior, I'm skydiving, I'm doing all these fitness competitions, you know, I'm still doing backflips and stuff. And like I just compare my resume before and now, and I'm like mentally more athletic, more stronger. And I feel like because of that accident, it's helped get me to where I need to be. And so
so okay,
it's a summarized version.
That accident itself, well, first of all, what's like the lead up to that? Like when you're like, was there any doubt in your mind or any nerves of like, I'm about to try and jump over a car that's coming at me?
Yes. I don't think it was strong enough to be like, yeah, let's not do this. It was more like, I got everybody here. We're doing it. I already told them it's game time. And so it's kind of just like psyching myself out of the nervousness. Like it happens. We're human. But I think when I think back to that time, I remember kind of like walking in circles, like just in my head. And I told them I need a second. I need to make sure that I'm mentally ready. And then after that, I was like, yeah, let's go. But I remember like walking around in a circle, and it wasn't the fact that I couldn't jump over it. It's like everything had to happen perfect. Like my athletic ability told me I can jump over it. The footage told me I can. I just have to make sure I don't trip when I'm prepping. I have to make sure he goes the same speed. There were so many things that were outside of my control that I was like fighting with. And it got to a point where I was like, all right, let's do it. So it's kind of just like I had to block it out and send it.
Do you like have memory of the jump itself?
No, I have memory of saying go. Car is way over here. I'm here, and that's it. And then I wake up. I'm in the hospital. My mom's praying for me. Everyone's in the room like he's awake. That's another story too.
So from the video, you can tell like you didn't like go for the flip, right? You just kind of tried to jump to just get out. Yeah, it was
going too fast. I do this like little stutter step because we had a hat on the ground that when he had a stick shift. So like when he revs his engine or shifts gears, I need to be like close to that hat. And so in the video, you can hear the sound of him like shifting gears, and I'm like still behind the hat. And by then, as I approach the hat, I'm like kind of like slowing myself down because I'm trying to get with his timing, but then I realize you can't. He's going 45 miles an hour. So I stutter, and then I just jump. But like that whole thing is like 1.5 seconds of me like realizing that he's going too fast, and then just
Was that hard to watch the video back?
Yeah, it actually took me a year to watch it, and mainly because I was so focused on recovering that I wanted to make sure that was my fuel, like just recover. And then, then I recorded myself watching it video for the first time, and I can even see in my face how like scared I was, just like ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be jarring to see. Damn, yeah, that's a crazy story. Because I do wonder. I'm guessing he just was also like like ramped up, like super nervous, super. Because that's like, a big task. You're like you're driving at someone.
It is, and that's why I tell people, I'm like, yes, our relationship isn't the same. I don't have no bad blood with him. Like we talk, it's not the same because he has flashbacks, and like knowing that you rammed at your friend and hit them, and they had this whole traumatic experience. Like that'll get to you. And so I wish I did act somebody different. It's my thing is like. I don't know what was going through his head in the car, like nerves, like you said, or whatever. But I probably shouldn't have put him in that position. You know what I'm saying? Probably should have hired somebody a little bit more professional, or like somebody that can have cruise control or something. But no bad blood. I definitely take 100% accountability. I asked him to do it. I told him the day. I told everyone there this is a practice day, and then I switched it up the day of. So yeah, there's full accountability. I recovered. I'm happy, living life. I like to share my story. I usually smile when I tell it, and they're like, "Why are you smiling? You got hit by a car." And I'm like, "Well, you should see the other side of it."
Yeah, I'm sure there's a ton that you gained from that. What's that like to? So did you have to learn to walk basically?
Yeah, relearn. Wheelchair, crutches. One thing that like really got to me was like I would see the X-rays of my leg. And my doctor would be like, you need to walk. And I'm like, do you not see my bones? He's like, you got to walk. Because we did a bone graft. We did a skin graft. And one of the things with the bone graft is like it needs that pressure to like heal. And like I'd never broken anything, so I didn't understand that. I was like, you're telling me to walk on a leg that looks like that? He's like, that's how the bones like fuse together. And so, yeah, I mean, the whole journey was a lot for me, just like learning the medical side of like how the body works and just like all that stuff is fascinating. But yeah, one thing I picked up on that I was like really just blown away by was walk.
Yeah, learn to walk. And then when were you like flipping again? Was that at that like 14 month? Or did it take longer?
Actually 14 months. So he gave me a full recovery 14 months later, and then that weekend I did a backflip for the first time, and I did it in the foam pit at my old gym at the time because I was teaching tumbling. I did it at my old gym in the foam, and I knew I had the muscle memory. It was just the landing and the impact.
Yeah,
so that was the only thing that was like kind of throwing me off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And so then that was 2018. So 2018 through 2019?
Yes, 2019 was when it happened, and I remember my last surgery. So I had 7 surgeries, and my last surgery, I remember just staring up at the lights, waiting to go under, waiting for the doctors to come in, and I told myself, if I can recover from this, I'm just going to start doing everything I've always wanted to do. And when I woke up, I remember looking on my notes in my phone, just things I've wanted to do, and skydiving was on the top of the list. And so that weekend, I did a backflip, and I went skydiving for the first time. And
right away.
Yeah, literally. Like, I was like, there's no, like, I got my passport. I went on a cruise, like, from summer 2019 all the way to COVID. I was just, like, doing random things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I went back to school in that time to be certified as a life coach, because one of the things I was doing was I was motivating people for free on like Facebook, because everyone knew about my accident, but I disappeared for like 7 months. I just deleted everything to focus on recovery. And then I pop back up and I'm doing flips, and they're like, well, wait a second, this guy was in the hospital. And so I was just like giving advice to people how I did it. And then my mentor, he was like, you get paid for this, there's an avenue. I was doing everything in 2019, just like crossing off things on my bucket list. And I actually dedicated 1 month of 2021 to do something I've never done each month. So snowboarding, rollerblading, and a lot of things I do now. Ride a horse, like just
so 1 month.
One thing,
every month you would pick one thing.
One thing, yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna
do something I've never done,
work on this
and
thing.
just humble myself. Learn something new, and that was kind of like my mindset in 2019. Just like, let's start doing things. Went to school, got certified as a life coach, and then started my business in 2020. And with that, it was kind of like I needed a new city, because I was living in Ohio at the time, and I just felt very confined. COVID made me feel more confined, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. And Austin just stuck out to me. I've been here on vacation, and I had like the time of my life. Just those 3 days, met so many awesome people, and it kind of just planted a seed again in me that like Austin is a cool spot. And so when that happened with COVID, I was like, Austin, San Antonio, or Denver, and San Diego or Denver, and chose Austin first. If I didn't like it, I can go somewhere else, and still here. So
yeah, it worked out.
Everything worked out.
I went roller skating with a friend. He goes every like Tuesday.
Yep.
And I have a
Playland.
Maybe. Yeah.
Is
it up north here?
What's up?
Is it up north?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have
I think so.
The adult skating every Tuesday.
Yes. Yeah. So I went one time. I also have a pair of rollerblades I just bought.
Hey.
Yeah, I went through a breakup recently, and so I'm kind of in like a similar like, let me just fucking try everything.
Yep, exactly.
So that's also why I went to the backflip
nice
open gym. Mm-hmm. I just did improv for the first time. I went through like an improv intro class.
Let's go.
So
how was that?
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was like really fun. 180 from everything I've done before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, completely different. I don't know if you've ever done anything like that. But
improv? In college, I was in a dance program. I'm a dance major, and so the dance program was affiliated with music and theater. And so I did cabaret. I did a lot of musical theater. I didn't have a lot of lines because I was a dancer, but I would have random lines.
Yeah.
So I understand it, but I wouldn't say I'm like the best like improv like actor or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's part of it was for this podcast. I was thinking like, it's a good way to practice just being in the moment and letting myself just speak freely rather than trying to rehearse things. Because in improv, you can't. Nope. It's like they set it up. So it's like you got to just go for it. And you can't be set on anything particular. You have to be open to whatever changes. If your partner brings in something different than you had expected, like, okay, that's what we're doing now.
Yeah. And I like when I tell my story a lot, sometimes I go down like something I haven't talked about in a while. Like you might ask a question and I'm like, I've never actually thought about that. Like kind of what you said in the beginning about like the negatives or positives of like living in a family like that. It's like I've thought about it, but I haven't thought about it. And I feel like that's pretty interesting to like maybe like go down a rabbit hole or something.
Yeah. Let's dig into that then. Yeah. What else could there be in that specific situation of growing up in a family of 30? I guess in comparison to friends who you have now who come from a more traditional, like however big, 2 kids or whatever, have you noticed any differences?
I think the biggest thing is like network, like friends, like childhood friends. Yeah, we don't have that.
You don't have any.
We have childhood siblings. We have friends of the family that had kids, and like we would see them, but I wouldn't call them friends. Like they only came over because our parents were friends, and not everyone was like just click with us. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's people I knew growing up, but I would never just be like, oh, that's my childhood friend. So like, I feel like that part's missing, or like we've known each other since pre-K, or all the like school things that people talk about. Oh, you remember like in 8th grade they would do this? I'm like, eh. So there's a lot of disconnect as far as like things that everyone knows or everyone did, and I had to relearn, or like just even learn about, like there's a lot of like movies or like catchphrases or like songs, like things that like everyone knows, and I'm sitting there like, karaoke, oh, you know the song, right? I'm like, I think. So yeah, I think just the whole social aspect, I feel like I definitely missed out on, and it's one of those things. It's like, well, I'm just different,
Yeah.
And I think that could play a negative in a lot of people, like just like knowing that you're not as socially included. I just find inclusion in other areas. Like if I'm like, oh, I don't know the song or never seen that movie, and they're like, what, you haven't seen that movie? I'm like, no, just not really into it. Or like SpongeBob. Like just like sometimes people will say stuff about like movies or cartoons that everyone knows, and I'm like,
yeah, there are SpongeBob. That's a funny one because I have that a lot where people are like, oh, you remember that episode of SpongeBob where this happens? And they're all like, oh yeah. Nope, I don't.
Yeah, our family was really big on like nothing that was like kids being mean to their parents. Nothing with like witchcraft, which was weird because we were allowed to watch Lord of the Rings, but we couldn't watch Harry Potter. I love Lord of the Rings, but things like that. Or our mom hated, like the whole Santa Claus thing, but we were allowed to watch Elf. Like that was her favorite, but we couldn't watch anything else with Santa Claus. So there's a lot of just like, stuff like that. But I think overall the social aspect, just knowing what was trending back in the day, I kind of just missed out on.
Yeah.
And so it just takes me a different way to like navigate that when it comes up. But
was there like a transition, or was it difficult to make friends on your own when you first moved out and went to college?
Yeah, so I went to Job Corps, which was for 6 months.
Okay.
And that sprung me into college. And from Job Corps, I'm glad I went, because if I went from the house to college, whew. So luckily in Job Corps, there was a lot of people that, I would say 90% of the people were like, oh, you're weird. But the 10 people that understood my story, like they were very compassionate and like, all right, let's help this guy out. The way I connected was through sports. Like I couldn't relate to a lot of the things that everyone knew, but I would just shut up and play sports. Like I would just like ball out, and they're like, "Oh, he's good. Like, oh, why is he jumping so high? He's fast." And so from that, I think that opened the door to like, "Hey, come sit with us at lunch. Come do this." And then they got to know me, and then from there, it was like, "All right, you gotta stop wearing this. You gotta stop saying this." So I got molded to be more socially acceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. You kind of use what you're good at that is accepted, and then people will almost take you under their wing.
Yeah, if I wasn't athletic, it would have been hard.
Yeah, that is such an easy one. If you are athletic,
I think the biggest one was the whole Job Corps had this like party thing every like once a month or whatever, and the guy that was at Job Corps for forever. He was really good at tumbling, and he could do like 10 backflips in a row. And I was like, hey. And that day, I just showed out and just like one-upped him. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, you beat Terrell. And I think that gave me the key to the city type deal. Like, people still talk about it. It's like, man, I remember when you just like came out there and started overflipping him. Like, this dude used to be the guy. And then you came in and just like showed him up. Yeah, so I think that was like the gateway.
Yeah, that I have a friend, a childhood friend, we went to elementary school and then middle school and high school. And his dad was a instructor at like the circus.
Yeah.
It was like called Circus Juventus. It was like a acrobatic school and all that. And then they would do shows once a year. And his dad was like one of the main instructors there. So he like grew up in it and was just like insane, could do all this stuff. And so like in elementary school, like once a year, they would put on a show and he would be like the star of the show. And like, it was just so cool that he could do all this shit. And like everyone just loved that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so being able to tumble is definitely
a
good skill to get you included and stuff.
For sure.
I feel like it's like a universally cool thing.
Yeah, universal language. I feel like.
And it's also like you can do it anywhere. Like it always can just be pulled out.
Just random flips. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so then you get into skydiving and life coaching.
Mm-hmm.
What is that transition from like just going through your own stuff to then, okay, now I'm actually helping other people with their issues and their struggles?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I realized as a coach was you can't help everyone, and you only can help the people that are ready for help or like willing to want help. And so what I've learned is to try to get on their map before you start offering advice or offering like different tools. And then you also have to find out what's stopping them from getting what their goal is, and like we call it like clearing the clutter, and then before you give them new tools. So my 12-week program is all about just like getting on their map and like letting them know that I'm their coach, I'm not their therapist, I'm not their doctor, like I'm here to motivate you to get your goal. And just breaking that down helped me kind of like go back to what I needed. What did I need when I was in the hospital? My doctor showed me my x-rays and he was like, it's going to be a long road. Like, what did I need in that moment? Knowing, yes, I want to walk again, but it's going to take forever to get there. And so I kind of put myself in in those shoes and like offer the support I can in that way. So far, so good. I think the biggest feedback I've gotten is I'm like down to earth and relatable, and so like that's empowering and it just motivates me that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, so you're basically just seeing what did Dre need then, and how can I give that to this person now. Yeah, that's a great framework. Okay, and then skydiving. So you skydive a lot.
Yeah, 150. Yeah, 150.
What
So
yeah, so do you still get like, is there any fear when you're up there?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I think the adrenaline is so much higher that it swashes it. The plane ride is always the one where I feel it the most, and a lot of it is, it's never like I'll stop the plane, go down. Like it's never that. It doesn't get that high, but it's more just like I need to make sure I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, to make sure my parachute opens, to make sure if it doesn't open, what to do, like all that stuff. So just like the safety part. But when the doors open and it's game time, I'm like full send. It's almost like I forget about the safety things. So yeah, the plane ride up, it's usually about 8 minutes, 10 minutes, just depends on the plane or the height that you're going. And a lot of people just like, that's their therapeutic time, just like process, mentally rehearse everything you're supposed to do. And sometimes I'm almost like napping, but like I'm visualizing everything, and then I hear and the doors are open, I'm like, let's go. And then it's just I love it. Just thinking about it now, I just can't wait to do it again.
How often do you do it?
Recently, not as much. I started off doing it like every other month. There's just different priorities in my life right now, and I need to make sure that those are set up before I just like jump every weekend. Right. It's a commitment, expensive, but I love it. So to answer your question, I try to go at least once a month.
What do you think you like take from it? What's the biggest thing?
The biggest thing I take from it is that empowering feeling of landing, knowing that you did something that you were scared to do, and just the whole process. Like, for example, like when people do it for the first time, when I did it for the first time, there's moments as you're getting suited up and you're getting in the plane where you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, what am I really doing this? Even when the door opens, I remember being like, don't know. So I just think just putting your mind to something. I'm going skydiving today, and then actually landing. I went skydiving. I think that part is empowering, just knowing I did something that I put my mind to.
Right.
So I get that out of it. Kind of like what I said in the beginning. It's like you can do whatever you set your mind to. You just got to take those one steps. Ask your instructor if you have a question. There's no such thing as a stupid question.
Yeah.
In skydiving.
There's something interesting. There are a lot of like fears that we have that or people have in general that you can go your whole life with never facing that.
Yeah.
Like if you were scared of skydiving, you could just never skydive, and that would be okay.
Yep.
But there's something really powerful about like I didn't have to do it, but I faced it and I went through it and I did it.
And I think for me, like taking someone that's never gone before, like everyone gets something out of it differently, and it could be something like, I'm moving to a new city and I'm scared, but I'm going skydiving this weekend. And then they land and they're like, oh my God, I feel so empowered. And so like, yeah, everyone gets something different. It's so crazy, like just hearing once people land, just getting up to them, being like, "How do you feel?" They're just like, "I just want to punch a brick wall." And so, I just like it. I just think it's very like motivating for like me, and like it just that's my sport. I just feel like it does everything I want.
Yeah. Do you play any other sports like still?
I mean,
tumbling, obviously.
Yeah, I do tumbling. I do American Ninja Warrior type stuff. I do Spartan races. I do high rocks. A lot of fitness competitions. I don't like play organized sports, but a lot of the sports I do are individual, but together. Like tumbling is individual sport, but we can tumble together. Roller skating, I'm doing it by myself, but we can skate together. Snowboarding, stuff like that. So there's no organized sport I do where I gotta show up for the practice. I feel like that ship has kind of sailed. But I do like to do like individual sports.
Yeah, I just was in a flag football league. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, nice.
There was no practicing, but it was just like
good to get back out there.
Yeah, throw the ball. What's something you are currently struggling with?
I think it's just like staying up, but it's so I'll break it down. So when I recovered from my accident, like I was on this like high, and then COVID happened, so I had to like come back down, and then things started opening back up. Like my business started going up, and I was on this high, and then I had a new goal, and so I'm on a high. So I feel like now, just this year, I kind of been on that low of like trying to find like what's a priority. My quote for the year, I have quotes for each year, like what I want to focus on, and this year is prioritize priorities, and my priorities lead me to my ultimate goal. But if I'm not prioritizing those priorities, then I'm not going to get there. And the last few years, I kind of like, I'm going to do this. But I haven't been putting those action steps into getting those. And it's like, practice what you preach, you know what I'm saying? So the biggest thing I'm struggling with is being in that season of prepping. Like I'm so used to like go. And like I said, I haven't skydived a lot this year, and that's my thing. And so for me, knowing that yes, I can skydive this weekend, but I don't need to because I need to focus on other things. Like that is kind of like, so I've had moments where I just struggle with like, how long am I going to be in the season of prepping? You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, this year has been a lot of prepping, and I'm ready to fire off. But right now, I think at least until the summer, there's going to be a lot more prepping. I can just doing a little bit more.
Laying the groundwork for other things coming. What does your dream life look like?
Yeah, good one. So I am a inspiring public speaker right now. I've done 3 gigs this month. I'm gonna hire a coach later on in the month to help like scale my pitch. Like my 4 stories I told today, I can break those up and speak at a high school about college football. I can speak at a foster care, but I can also squeeze them all into one and have like one big message. And so like that's the main thing that we're going to be working on. So I feel like that would be my main thing, and just travel through that, build up that generational wealth, and start a family. I feel like that's like the biggest thing. Like I want a family now, but I'm also realistic, and I'm like I don't have the lifestyle or the mindset for like a partner and a family. And so like that's one of the things I know I want. That's a priority. But if I don't prioritize the little things, like making sure the groundwork's laid, that's never going to happen. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, yeah, I would like to be a speaker, traveling speaker, have people that resonate with my story, people that can help out. Through that, I guess I can funnel in, like some clients through life coaching. But if speaking could be my main thing, I'd be fine with that.
What have you taken from, thinking about your upbringing, how do you think about starting your own family in that regard? Like what you went through and how you would like to bring people into the world?
I'm really big on what I did. I feel like everyone has it in them. And I kind of like promote and preach on my social media like I'm just a guy that figured it out. And because of my upbringing, it helped add that validation that I'm in confidence that like I can do this. And because I had people in my life that just kept saying these things, oh, you're fast, you're this, it just gave me extra fuel. And then me graduating college, being homeschooled, walking on, doing all these things just add on to my confidence. And for my family, like that's literally going to be the blueprint. It's just like build their confidence, because they're going to be able to do like so much, knowing that their family believes in them, their dad, their mom believes in them, their siblings. And I'm really big on tough love. And so like you fall down, it's like, all right, get back up. I teach kids tumbling, and I promote the tough love in my classes. And like, yes, they're not used to it, but like the feedback I get from parents, like, oh my God, my son loves your class, or my son really got some value out of XYZ. It just knows that like, this is how I want to raise my kids, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, Dre.
Yeah.
Great talking to you today. Having me. Yeah, this has been awesome. Tell people where they can find you, find out more about you, keep up with you.
Yeah, you can find me on social media, Dreadhead Dre. So it's DRED head, and then Dre on Instagram, Twitter. My biggest thing I'm on right now is just Instagram, and I have a TikTok, Dre Nuzum, and then a YouTube, Dreadhead Dre Productions. But yeah, I feel like Instagram is my main avenue as of right now.
Okay. Yeah, we'll make sure to link you out everywhere. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks again.
I appreciate you.